Hey, Insiders! We've got a very special guest joining us here today who's just recently graduated from our flagship course, LMA Life Mastery Achievers. And he's going to be coming on here, sharing his experience, how he honestly found the whole journey, and everything else in between. So, I guess just to start off, if you wouldn't mind just telling us your name, where you're from, and what it is that you currently do for a living right now.
Okay, so my name is Jordan. I'm from London. I live in the center of London, and currently I work as a recruitment and training manager for a stock inventory company.
Nice, nice. Well, Jordan, great to have you here. Great to have a quick chat. And I guess diving right in and just asking you about the LMA experience. First things first, was just curious to know what was your biggest problem or challenge that you were currently facing in your life prior to joining the LMA program?
So for me, prior to joining LMA, I would say I felt like I was often in a kind of limbo. I kind of wasn't making too much progression in terms of where myself wanted to be, or like kind of self-development in myself, because I had, watched a few YouTube videos about self-development and I bought a couple of books and stuff, but I didn't really feel like I had made any progress or I was making substantial progress. There was a lot of stuff I kind of came across of on new, but not too much had been implemented into kind of the lifestyle or kind of the way I was living.
Right. And how long would you say you were in that limbo for? Like, how long were you discovering things before LMA?
I would say I was probably in that kind of limbo or that kind of space for a good few years, probably easily 3, 4 years, kind of knowing that I wanted to do stuff differently and kind of make a change to kind of what I was doing,
Right.
but never really taking too much action or gaining any momentum with that action. There was no like real progress. There'd be a little bit of progress and then just back to kind of my normal ways and my normal habits.
Right. And how did that make you feel knowing that you were like making a little bit of progress, but then stopping and then a little bit of progress? How did you feel knowing that that was the only momentum you were having?
It was very frustrating, somewhat energy draining because yeah, I'd make a little bit of progress, go back to my usual ways, and then get to that point again where I'm feeling a bit, I wouldn't say depressed, but like frustrated. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to make a few changes. Have kind of loads of ideas and plans on that day itself, and then probably the following day go back to work, back to the usual habits, just working, coming home, just doing the usual stuff that people usually do.
Yeah. And then from there, then how did the LMA journey fall on your path?
So for me, it's probably maybe slightly different to some other people. So those 3 or 4 years when I was looking at YouTube videos and kind of self-development, I had already come across Tim,
Oh,
probably when he kind of started Success Insider or maybe a little while after.
right.
Watched a few of his videos, loved the kind of the information that was coming through there. I kind of learned a lot from that.
Mm.
However, like I said, to implement it into my life or take action on it, it would take quite a bit from my part, but due to the kind of habits that we all kind of have and stuff like that, it becomes quite difficult to implement stuff without an actual game plan of what you're actually going to do.
Right.
So I was back on YouTube. I started watching some of the videos again, hadn't been watching them for a while. And I think it was an advert from Tim for a free webinar.
Right.
So when I saw it, I was like, I've got to watch this. I know Tim. And seeing him years later still doing it,
Yeah.
it just made me realize that he's obviously still doing it and doing it well. So I was like, I've got to watch this webinar. So I decided to go onto the webinar. Tim started talking about a few different things. And then I could tell it was leading on to either some sort of course or something like that.
Mm.
So I've been on a few webinars before where you feel like they're just going to go and sell you something at the end. And sometimes you wait for that. You see what they're selling, they say the price, and you just kick out straight away. Whereas this time, yeah. Whereas this time, I was at the point where I really wanted to make a change in my life. I kind of already knew Tim. So when it came to the point when the course or whatever it was going to be presented, before it was presented, before the cost was there, I knew I wanted to sign up. So when he presented the LMA course, I was like, I have to do this course. I have to sign up. I have to do it, and I have to follow through to the end. Because I
Oh,
feel sometimes people see courses and stuff, they do a little bit, and they don't follow it through to the end. So you
Right.
can't really say that it didn't work or it wasn't worth it or it's a waste or it's a scam because you haven't followed that full process.
Right.
So I was committed to to doing the LMA course to the end.
And
Really wanted to sign up. So yeah, I did. I wanted to sign up. Obviously, it did have a price, but there was also the option to pay in installments.
yeah,
So for most people, that can be quite beneficial because you've got your other commitments like your rent and your bills. So to pay like one lump sum can be a lot.
yeah.
But I was ready and willing to invest in myself, so I decided to enroll on the LMA course.
Can I just go back there for a second? You said that before he even like presented the price or anything like that, you said you were already in. Why was that?
Like I said, I know about self-development and the stuff that you can do to better yourself and create a better mindset and create better habits. And before, obviously, the videos that I've watched and other stuff like that, I felt like I hadn't committed enough. I hadn't put in enough work. Now, I'd already heard of Tim. He's told me that he's created this course,
Mm,
which would I can't say exactly what he said it would do, but he created this course and I knew that this course could be of some benefit to me. So I was willing to invest some time and some money in myself, to try and achieve that.
wow.
So yeah, it was just the way the course was presented, the way Tim spoke about it. I was already at the point where I wanted to invest some time and money in myself.
Yeah.
Um, so I was just eager to find out, how much was the cost? How do I enroll? When will it start? I was already at that point where I knew I needed something besides myself because it can be quite difficult to make certain changes without the help or like I said before, a game plan.
Yeah. Nice. And had you any concerns or skepticisms before signing up and like pursuing the LMA program, or were you just at that point where you were just like, I am ready, I'm fully committed?
Um, I was at the point where I was already ready and fully committed. I had skepticism about other courses or other people before, and I think it's natural because you hear about there's a free webinar or a free seminar, you go to that, and ultimately at the end, there's something that's being sold or some sort of product or service.
Yeah.
And I think most people can be a bit skeptical when they're going to part with some of their money.
Yeah.
But I've always told my friends before, and I've always kind of come to this kind of understanding whether it be self-development, whether it be finances or acting, if someone has put in some time and effort to create something that is really a game changer that can really help you,
Mm,
um, that does actually work, it's going to have a cost. Now, if you're going to buy something that costs £10, you're probably going to get about £10 worth of value. So, in terms of the skepticism, I wasn't really skeptical. I was just eager to do it and follow through and see if it was what they said it was. Because, like I said to you before, people are skeptical. They're not sure whether to pay the price or if it's really going to work. So you'll never know. Only by you making the commitment can you say, okay, I did do it. I did everything they said, and it was a waste of money or it didn't work. If you don't do any of it, or if you don't do the whole thing, you're always going to be skeptical. You'll never get that true answer. And I think sometimes that's what it takes. You could buy a certain product, you used it, it actually doesn't work like they said it does. So you know that for a fact. So without doing it, without finding the facts for yourself, you don't really have any answers.
fab, fab. And from there, then, what would you say surprised you the most, or let's say made you the most happiest about the whole LMA experience? What was it for you?
Uh, okay, so the content is good. The structure of the course is really good. The game changer for me, the LMA community, so the Facebook group that you have, which is just full of amazing people. People, they just seem like they're on a similar journey. So, or they're doing the same kind of courses for similar reasons, but all in different kind of situations in their life.
Mm,
Just the community that's there is absolutely amazing. You get support from people that were once strangers because they were strangers. Now a lot of them are not strangers. Some of them are good friends, or I don't want to say associates. They're probably all friends. They're all really amazing people. So a community that there is absolutely amazing.
yeah.
And the second thing would be for me the accountability partner. Both of those two things really tie the course together. So the course has a great structure. There's a lot of steps to follow. There's the kind of optional challenges that you can do. And that in itself is really, really good. But the community just ties it all together. You see other people doing what you're trying to do. It makes you realize that there's a lot of other people out there just like yourself. They're all kind of normal people. Everyone has kind of struggles, everyone has kind of doubts. And it's kind of reassuring, I should say. And then in terms of the accountability partner, words can't describe how valuable it was for me. I
Wow.
would recommend it to anyone that does the course
Wow.
because it's not that it just kind of holds you accountable, but it keeps the whole course and what you want to achieve kind of in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
So you have the accountability call once a week, and each week it gets you to reassess certain things. It just brings things back to you that you've learned on the course, and you have that person that you kind of start to connect with,
Mm.
and as you start to understand a bit more about them, they understand a lot more about you. And I'd say because you've never met each other, but you're both doing the course, there's no kind of preconceptions or judgments that you have about each other. So it was just I don't know how to describe it. Just really, really, really valuable part of the course. Um, Kind of kept me on track because I feel like there's courses that you can do where it's just you holding yourself accountable. So if you decide I'm not going to do this today, I'm not going to do this today, that's fine. And sometimes that kind of happened on the LMA course. It did happen with me. But by having the accountability call with your partner, you just speak through what's happened in your week, maybe why you haven't, followed through on the course and what's happened. And it makes you realize stuff about yourself. It's not so much them holding you accountable, but just by having that call and having that conversation, yeah, it really just brings a lot to the forefront of your mind and just keeps why you joined the course and what you want to achieve just present and as a focal point for yourself.
Well, thanks for sharing. I do have to say there now, like every testimony that we've been speaking to, or every individual that I've spoke to, so interesting mentions the community aspect side of things, and of course the accountability partner. But very briefly, like what would you say? I know you said the community's been amazing, but like how impactful has that part of the LMA journey been towards the whole thing?
How impactful has it been? I would say the course is like the foundation and the structure,
Yeah,
but the LMA community is what really gets the building blocks going on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve.
nice.
Um, there's a lot of support in the community, and it's not just the support, it's sometimes seeing what other people are sharing or doing in the community opens your eyes as to what you're actually capable of and what you can actually do. And sometimes seeing people share and do stuff in the community and seeing their vulnerability makes you realize that you too can actually be vulnerable and it's not a bad thing. But sometimes you can be a bit withdrawn or apprehensive about being vulnerable. But
Mm.
seeing other people do it and sometimes being able to see that they are vulnerable, you can literally see it in like their face and the way they speak and their emotions. It makes you realize that it's normal to kind of have those kind of reactions and feelings when you're doing certain things. So the community for me has been, I don't want to say the bigger part of the course, but like I said, the course is the information and the foundation, but the LMA community is like the building blocks where you can really start to build upon kind of the information and knowledge that's being shared.
Cool. And after going through the whole course now, you're out the other side and stuff, what would you say has been the biggest thing that has shifted for you in your life personally, compared to where you were at the start and the focus and the perspective that you have on life? What would you say is one of the biggest things that you've implemented?
The biggest thing I've implemented is I would say it's changed my whole kind of mindset. There's a lot of stuff that you learn on the course in terms of actions, emotions, or feelings, just different things that you can interpret and then relate to things that have happened in your life.
Mm.
My outlook and just the action that I take in terms of certain things has completely changed. So an example is I've been doing music production for a while. I always thought that learning the piano would be a good thing. Never got around to it, never kind of found time for it. Towards the end of the LMA course, I started learning piano. I started teaching myself just for YouTube videos. And I basically composed an original kind of piano piece, and that was all within less than a week, and it kind of really opened my mind to what my true possibilities and capabilities are.
Wow.
Now, if it wasn't for the LMA course and what I learned there and my outlook on certain things and reminding myself that I have a choice in all the actions that I take, I still wouldn't know or have learned how to play the piano today. How I approach my work life, how I approach my tasks at work, and when I'm interacting with people is different now because of the LMA course.
Wow.
So it's just changed my whole outlook and mentality of things. There's no such thing as like a bad thing. It's either a good thing or a challenge.
Wow.
Now, if you conquer that challenge, you'll learn and you'll grow as a person.
Mhm.
So I'd say that that's the biggest way it's changed my life. Whether it's something that I want to do or something that's happened to me, is it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge that's been put in front of me, and I'm more than capable of conquering that challenge or just achieving the best I can from that situation. So I've implemented into every day of my life, even my kind of eating habits,
Wow.
cooking, how I operate around the house. It's just changed my whole mindset in everything I do. So it's not just self-development, it's just, yeah, like I said, how I interact with everyone, how I do everything. Probably even when I go for a walk outside on the street,
Yeah.
it's changed the way that I do that, which is just, it's crazy to think, to be honest, but I can't put a price on the value of what I've learned and
Wow.
how my life has already changed. And what I've learned and how I act now is just like a small part. It's just the first few stages. The more I do of it, the more my outlook changes on everything. The more I try to achieve at work, the more I realize I can achieve, and the more I can implement, the more I can also influence others.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we don't realize how you influence other people. So if you're in a negative mood and having a bad day, it reflects on other people at your work, your family, your friends.
Yeah.
And the same on the flip side. If you come in with a positive mentality, if people see you, I'll say, I'll use the term overachieving, but doing more than what seems possible or what's required.
Mm.
Sometimes they then look at themselves and they start to step up their game.
Right.
So it's changed everything in my life and everything around me.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Well, listen, um, the LMA family will definitely be waiting for that original piano piece composition. We definitely want to hear it sometime for sure.
Yeah,
And
I'll be sure to share
soon
it.
wrapping up here, I really do appreciate your time. But what advice would you give to somebody who is, and I know you were pretty ready and you've been in the world of personal development before, but what advice would you bestow on to someone who is sitting on the fence about joining LMA? They know they want to change their life and they know they're waiting on this new zest for life, but they're kind of like dilly-dallying around. What would you say to them?
So I can give these people some advice based on where I was before I was ready to join the LMA course, even going back a few years. So the reason why you've come across the LMA course is because you're seeking something else. You're seeking to grow as a person, to develop something, to learn some new things. Um, and you have to at some point commit to something.
Yeah.
So you can commit to watching some YouTube videos, you can commit to some free courses that you find.
Mm.
You might find some help, you might find some benefit. But from my experience, to truly find something of great value that's actually going to help you and change your life, there will be a cost involved. You will have to pay a price. Now, yeah, there's going to be some sort of financial commitment. Don't let that stop you. Don't be hesitant because of that. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you want to buy some chocolate, you can buy the cheapest chocolate or you can buy chocolate from a master chocolatier. And the difference is very clear. It's very clear. In terms of the LMA course, what you learn, the way it's structured, you just have to follow through with it. So you can't be half committed. You can't think, okay, let me see what it's like. You have to see it through to the end. And I think that is with anything. You can't begin to drive a little bit. You have to keep doing the lessons and then do the test. You have to follow the process right through to the end. So if you're on the fence about joining, I would say get off the fence because you can only see so much from on the fence. You have to get right in there and get involved. And this course allows you to do that. The structure of the course gives you everything you need to find out more about yourself, find out what you've been doing previously in your life and why you've been doing it. And then it will also open your eyes to your true potential. And for a lot of people, they might kind of know what they want to do. This will really open your eyes and really get you to pinpoint where it is you want to be in your life and what you want to do. And with what you learn, it gives you the tools so that you can get yourself there. So that's what's great about this course. It's not just about do this, do that, and you'll become this. It's about equipping you and making you realize that you are the person that can make it all happen. You just don't know how. And with a course like LMA, you can learn some great things that really give you the power to realize that I can do it. I just didn't know how. And this kind of lets you know how to do it and steps you can take to learn a bit more and get to the place that you want to be. So
Solid advice,
don't
man.
hesitate.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Love it. And only because you're a man full of wisdom, and I'm sitting here looking at the time, being like, oh, I could listen to you speak all day long. I want to ask you one final question, right? Because I'm curious to hear what you're going to say. If you had an opportunity right now for, let's say, millions of people, let's say billions of people to tune in, and they had 20 or 30 seconds to listen to one message that you would give to the entire world population right now, if you had a 30-second window to say or give any message to billions of people all around the world, what would Jordan leave us with?
My message for you is you have an amazing potential and amazing power. You have greatness and a lot of creativity within you, and you need to express it. You need to use it. You can't just let it stay up in there and go to waste. There's a lot of great ideas that you have that are great ideas. And sometimes other people might not see it as a great idea, but you know it's a great idea. Deep down, you can always listen to and ask your heart what is true. And you need to stick to what is true, what you know to be true. And I'll finish with, I think, a quote from maybe Gandhi. So always speak or do what you know to be true, even if you're a minority of one. And that's because only you can see your vision. No one will be able to see your vision. You can try and explain it to them, they will never see it how you see it. So if you know it, you need to stick with it and follow through with it. You don't need the help and guidance of other people if you know it to be true.